Welcome to the Modernize or Die podcast, CFML News Edition, where we keep you up to date with everything going on in the Cold Fusion community. We'll share the latest news on events, releases to engines, frameworks, libraries, and tools, as well as spotlighting quality content from the community.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Modernize or Die podcast, the CFML News Edition. It is January 28th, 2025. This is episode 227. My name is Eric Peterson, and I'm joined by the wonderful Gavin Pickin. How you doing, Gavin?
Hey, good. Long time no see, man.
I know.
It's funny, Otis has got so big now that we don't see each other unless we're at a retreat or a conference because you're on different projects or different things. It's kind of crazy,
It's
but
true.
good to
That
be here.
or our podcast.
Yep.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us. It's been a while, holidays, and then the plague hit all of Hortus, it seems, at once. Somehow, even though we're all remote, we all got sick. So.
I blame the kids.
Yes, I once heard, and this is very true, that I thought I had a good immune system, like an above average one. Turns out I just didn't have anybody sneezing directly on my eyeballs.
Yep,
And now that I have
exactly.
that, I get sick more.
Yeah, I thought I had a good immune system, but I didn't have kids.
Right.
Yep, be
Well, we
funny.
want to start by thanking our sponsor of this episode, Orta Solutions. They are the makers of your favorite box products, including Cold Box, Command Box, Forge Box, Text Box, and BoxLang. There's a few ways to say thank you and support Orta Solutions. My favorite right now is to get tickets to Into the Box in Washington,
Yep.
D.C., April 30th through May 2nd.
Yep, and for those of you that we do have like early bird tickets still, there are some discounts available. The blind tickets are gone. We'll tell you more about that soon, but there's still some good discounts on those tickets. And if you're looking for flights, their prices are good now. Don't wait too long. So, convince your boss, tell them you're going to go, and then get that taken care of. And we got some cool hotel options as well, much closer to the venue for some of these as well. So, yeah, definitely don't wait too long. We want to see you there. It's going to be fun. I already got my flight booked, got it cheap, so we're good to go.
Nice. And we want to see you there for the launch party of BoxLang. If you were there
For
last year,
sure.
you were there when we announced it. We've been working hard all year. We're about to hit the release candidate cycle, and it is launching at Into the Box 2025.
Yep, super cool. So, yep, make it, be there, be square. But also, like and subscribe our videos on YouTube. That's another way you can thank us. We have obviously lots of repos out there, so start and fork them and any of the other repos you use. They're always a big help. And then this podcast, obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to like and subscribe there. But if you're listening in a podcast player, leave us a review and then let us know if you leave us a good one. We don't care about those bad ones, but the good ones we'll even read on the show. So please do that. And we also have free and paid accounts on CFCast, and even free accounts are still helping us, supporting us. So we appreciate each and every one of you that do that. And we'll tell you more about what we've released lately on there.
Yeah.
And of course, Box Life, man. If you want some cool shirts and some cool swag, uh, the Box Life store on Auto Solutions is a really good place to go to. And we have a few books too, right, Eric?
We do have a few books, 102 Cold Box Quick Tips and Tricks. You can get an ebook, you can get it in hardcover. The ebook's free, but you can buy it in hardcover and learn modern cold fusion in 100 plus minutes. So you can
And
support us in any of those ways.
And I'll tell you what, the hardcover is really nice. We gave it out to some of the attendees at the CF Summit training we did. Lewis and I had a full house the last couple of CF Summits, and I think we're going to try and get some of those hardcovers for a workshop attendee too. Don't hold me to that, but I'm going to tell them we need it because it makes the workshops even cooler when you have a really nice hardcover book. And you got all the cool oldest people that we can cite it because when we're famous after releasing BoxLang, those are going to be worth something. Maybe.
Famous in a crowd of
Infamous.
about
Yeah, 3 people.
200
Yeah.
people. Yeah,
Oh, okay. A little more.
a little
200.
more.
Good.
Also, we'd
Cool.
like to thank our Patreon supporters, our resplendent Patreon supporters who support us directly through their contributions in all of the different works that Aura Solution does, including this podcast. We'll tell you more about them at the end of the show.
Yep, and just so you know that this section of the show is brought to you by Eric and his thesaurus because these words he comes up with, like I don't even know what they mean sometimes, but I know it means good in some way, shape, or form. So I'm learning something every week. So thanks, Eric, for teaching me that I don't know the language.
We should add to our word of the week the definition.
Okay, well,
Um,
from next week, I guess we can
for
start that.
next week, yeah, or next
Or
episode.
next, yep, next episode. Okay, well, we have some news and announcements. We did miss an episode in the middle of the month there, so we got a few extra. Um, but starting off, Charlie Earhart posted a blog post, and it's worthy of being an announcement, so we get to hear about it twice. But his title is Beware that Cold Fusion 2021 End of Life and End of Updates is coming November 2025. And so basically, he's got a blog post letting you know that, it's going to be end of life very soon. And there's a few options for you. Now, that's the core support date, so that means no more updates from Adobe after that, not even security fixes. So, obviously, we got CF 2021 out, CF 2023 is out, and CF 2025 is coming very soon, and they're already in pre-release, and you'll hear a bit more about that too. But basically, it was updated. I think it was like almost 5 years ago. They're trying to get to a faster cycle. They're going subscription model, so that deadline is looming, and you should really jump on that soon. So yeah, basically, he's got a really good blog post about that. We'll post it in the show notes and in the chat. But another thing to know is that if you are using CF 2028, CF 2018 or earlier, and you're thinking about upgrading to CF 21, there's actually a 25% discount off of CF 2023 right now if you're running 2018 or earlier. So if you're not even on 21, you're like past. And I know there's people I know with like CF9, 11, and some of those. You guys can get it for 25% off the full price. And I think that's through Integral, which it makes Fusion Reactor, and they're actually a reseller. So they have a really good deal there. So we'll post both those links. So get up to speed, get up to date, get safe, because security is really important, and having an old version is just a target on your back. Sorry, Eric, big spiel, but it's important. So
You're fine. A
rant
note
over.
when you look at that blog post, Charlie calls out the extended support does not mean patches. It means they help you get onto a new version. So
Yeah,
um, you can
that's a
decide
big
whether or
thing.
not that's worth paying for in that case. Also, if
Yeah.
you're doing the work to see if you're what it will take to get your app on the new version of Cold Fusion, maybe start it up in Command Box with BoxLang and see how that one works for you.
Yep. Yeah, the compatibility, the audit checker, and everything else they're pretty cool. And yeah, we always want feedback. So even if you're not going to use BoxLang yet, give us that feedback so we can make it better. So next time you think about it, you should be able to run your apps. So okay, looks like Java updates are out that time of the year, right? So January 21st, so just a week ago, they released updates for Java 8, Java 11, 17, and 21, and 23.
So I believe those are
So
all of the LTS supports that are listed
yep,
there. There's a bunch in the middle of there, but for the most part, I think a lot of us are running just on the LTS supports or versions. So in this blog post, you can find the latest on all those things. If you're still on 8, it really is time to move at least to 11, but hopefully later, whatever's supported by the version of Lucy or Adobe Fusion or BoxLang. BoxLang, of course, supporting all the way up to 23, staying on the latest
yep.
and greatest of Java.
And remember, the odd numbers are more long term, and the short numbers are the short term. So, like Java 22, you might think, I'm on Java 22, I'm up to date. That's no longer supported, no longer updated because it's a short one. So, 17 is actually updated more recently than 22. I know it's confusing, but that just a little heads up there because that might confuse you. You're like, wow, 17's older than 22, but 17's a long supported LTS.
Right.
So those types of things can throw you. So anyway,
Coming back to
okay.
Into the Box, we have our first round of sessions and the workshops posted. You
Ooh,
can check it out on the website. So there's some on each of the days. But we also have all 4 workshops announced. So if you were waiting to see what that was like, you can
you
check
say
now.
4. I saw 5 somewhere.
Ooh, I don't don't see 5 on the
Yeah,
website, but maybe.
I saw 4 somewhere, and that's why I was like, wait a minute, what? So I see
Well,
4 there, but I saw 5 somewhere else. I wonder if there's like a secret one that we're not putting there yet, or it's a maybe one.
we'll
So
have to
I'm gonna look
see.
that up while we keep talking because I was like, wait a minute, there's 5.
Yeah. So let me give you
So
your rundown right here of your 4 workshops. You have Getting Started with BoxLang with Brad Wood, Luis Mahano, and John Clausen. Development and hosting using Docker, CI/CD, and AWS with Daniel Garcia and Jacob Beers. You have the Just Enough workshop with command box, cold box, CF config, migrations, Quick, QB, CB validation with Dan Card. And you have building modern apps with CB Wire and Alpine JS with Grant Copley and Esme. I should know how to say Esme's last name. Acevedo.
Acevedo.
There we
Yep,
go.
yep. And so just a heads up, I was wrong when I said 5. When the workshops and agenda sneak peek had 5 bullet points. So programming languages, framework and tools, tech topics, modern practices, and specialized tools. So it shows that we're covering all these different things. I saw 5 bullet points and thought, oh, there's 5. But that's just me. I can't read, I guess. I can count, but I can't read.
We
Anyway.
we also have about a dozen of the sessions that have been put in from CMS switcheroony, converting your Mira and Masa sites to content box, building Internet of Things hardware integration with BoxLang and MQTT. What's new in BoxLang, passkeys and CB security, BoxLang IDE, and a lot more. So check that out on the blog post or on the Into the Box website.
Yep, for sure. And we'll be announcing more soon. A lot of them are going to be community speakers. We're just validating that they're still able to attend and getting all the details. Some of them need pitches, some of them need new pitches. They look like they're 12, so we need some new pitches. But yeah, we're getting all that. It'll be released very soon. But there's a lot of great sessions. It's getting harder and harder every year, Eric, to decide on these things. I
It
think we're
really
going to
is.
be at the point where we need another day. I keep telling Luis, we need 3 days of content because we can fill it. I mean, we can do a week to be honest, but like, not everyone can take that much time off.
It's
So,
true.
but
We
yeah, there's so
do
much great content.
we
It's
do
awesome.
technically have 3 days if you come to our workshops.
Well,
So
I mean, we need 3 days of sessions plus probably 2 days of workshops. I remember in the old days when I first meet Lewis and Brad, I did a 3-day workshop and then we went to CF, what wasn't, yeah, CF Objective, which was a 3-day conference. So I spent 6 days with Luis and Brad and everybody that when I first met them, 6 days straight. Day 6, I tell you, my brain was mush, but it was awesome. I was like pumped, energized, and like, I'm gonna go rewrite all my apps. So anyway, it was yeah. I'm like, we can do it. I can survive. We can do 5, 4, something. Anyway, yeah,
awesome.
super excited.
Well,
Sorry, go ahead.
coming back to the CF 2023, or rather the 2021 end of life, if you would like to save that 25% off, we have a blog post from Charlie talking about how you can get there, link to Integral that is offering the deal. So again, that's 25% off of your Adobe CoolFusion 2023 license. Well, shall we get into some new releases?
I think so.
All right, the first one up, we have TestBox. Well, they're both kind of related. We have TestBox 6.1 has been released. This has native support for BoxLang. So if you've been
Ooh.
following the BoxLang and TestBox news for a while, you'll know that you could run BoxLang, TestBox in BoxLang, but you needed the CF Compat module. That is no longer required. You can run pure BoxLang with TestBox now.
And if you're not sure how to do that, get up and running with BoxLang. There's a workshop all about that. And so I
There
think that
is.
one's gonna be pretty big this year. So anyway, I'm gonna be going because I want to learn more about it. I can't keep up with these guys. They're just pumping out so much awesome stuff. So but yeah,
Yeah,
like you said, the next one also related, CB mock data, which is great when you're using your tests. That version 4 has been released there too. So new name, new support for BoxLang. So
yeah. You might have already used this under mock data CFC. So there's a bit of a rename here to since Ortus has forked this package and done a lot of work on it. So we're rebranding it to match our cold box uh, suite of modules.
yeah, I mean, it all works so good with CB migrations, with data, CETAs, and all that stuff. It's super cool. Yeah, it's a great tool, great for doing test data or even just real data if you want to actually put in your app, not just for tests, because,
Yeah.
not as many people test as they should. But
Just in case you're worried, though, it is the same module that you've been using before. If you don't have a cold box app, this works just fine. You just a little rename from mock data CFC to CB mock data. Okay, and then the Cold Fusion 2025 pre-release is in full swing. We're now in a public pre-release. So you can get on that if you would like, test your site in the new version if you're looking to upgrade, or maybe just you want to see what's new. We have another blog post from Charlie going over how to access both the beta and the resources that Adobe has published on that so far, webinars, YouTube videos, things like that.
yep. And so they're at beta one. They said there should be a beta two out this month. And of course, if you were at CF Summit, you would have learned about how they're only going to sell it via subscription model. And he's got more details on that. And basically, they're sharing publicly the details of what features will be deprecated and some will actually be removed, and most of them. And there's a pretty large number of significant changes there. They've been deprecated for a long time before they're removing them, but it's definitely a modernization effort. So it's kind of cool that they're doing that. So check that out.
Yeah,
Great blog as usual. Charlie's always got, all the details. I mean, he's the king of troubleshooting. And so he's got to learn all those details because he's got to help everybody with it. So good job, Charlie.
I think one of the most interesting for me looking through it is, did you know that the thread terminate action is going away in CF 2025? It's
No, I think me and Kai talked about this on a podcast, all the stuff that was in there.
mm,
And it's quite possible that he explained it. But it's
well,
like, I think they're changing underlying Java models, and that's why they're doing it because they don't do it.
correct.
They don't
Yeah,
support it in Java anymore. Yeah,
they're
I
they're
do.
going they're going to update to JDK 21, and
Yep.
that does not let you use the thread stop method because it is not a great idea. And so now you can't do thread terminate either. So
So
you can
they
ask
don't
your
they don't really
threads, you can tell them like, "Hey, I need you to be done," but you don't want to go around killing threads.
they
So,
don't want a bunch of zombies.
yep.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
And then webinars, meetups, workshops. We didn't see any when we're looking. So if you guys have any or someone's announcing them, please tag us if it's on LinkedIn or whatever else. And just so we can make sure we see it. We want to get it in those notes, but we just didn't see any. So
Yeah. I also
um,
think we're in a weird transition period in the CFML community where everybody's kind of gone to different spots, some to LinkedIn, some to Threads, some to Blue Sky, some are still on X, and it's just if you've moved and you have a place you're sharing, let us know because we want to keep up. We used to all be on Twitter, and that's no longer the case.
yep. I mean, I know I got to meetup.com and look there. I've got most of the Cold Fusion groups in there, but some of them only post on Facebook, and yeah, and it's hot. So we want to share more. So if you guys see any, please let us know. Just ping us, and we'll add it to the show notes so we can share it with everybody. But anyway, yeah, it's,
Alrighty,
David's like, some are just fed up with social media in general. Yep, that
that's
too.
that's fair. That's fair. All right, how about we talk about the CF cost contents updates that we got?
Yep, very cool. So obviously CFcast is our video training platform. So we got a lot of great content. There's some free, some paid. Uh, it's a lot of great content, and we got stuff coming out all the time. And the big thing is if you're a paid subscriber right now, or you're a Patreon with bronze level or higher, you get a paid subscription included. You'll have access to all the Into the Box 2024 videos, where there's a bunch of great videos there. So if you're thinking about 2025 and you're got a CFcast subscription, check that out. You'll be able to see all of that there. And I believe it's not 100% final, but I think we're got video recording set up. So we're going to be recording those sessions again for 2025. And we're hoping that we can offer live streaming, but we're just finalizing those details because you got to make sure the quality is good. You got to get the stream right. Otherwise, people are at home going, I can't see what block Eric is. So we're working on that, but hopefully we'll have that too. So, but 2024 videos are there for paid subscriptions. And then we got some BoxLang podcasts. I guess Brad and Luis were talking to Michaela on the CFL Live podcast about BoxLang. So we got that video there. And of course, every week when we talk about ForgeBox mod of the week and VS Code extension of the week, we share those little snippets in case you missed the episode on there as well. So there's some artist bites, lots of cool content on there. And I know you guys are working on some updates for the platform. Are we going to share that, or we have to wait until later to
You're,
make any
you're going to need to
announcements?
keep waiting for that, but yes, we are.
Ah,
So,
okay. Shh, I didn't say nothing. I know nothing. Nothing.
and of course, in case you missed it, this last Christmas we opened up all of the Into the Box 2024 videos to the paid subscribers. So if you did not have a chance to attend Into the Box 2024, but you are a subscriber to CFCast, you can now watch all of those videos. Log in now and choose your favorites.
Yeah, there's some really good stuff. And I'm always in one room. So I'm like helping video and stuff. So I always miss the other half of the conference. So it's good to go back and watch them. And then if I start a project, I'm like, oh, let me go watch the video again so I can remember what that is doing. And yeah. And of
I
course all the box on goodness was announced there. So there's plenty to see.
Yeah, I'm very grateful we do that, especially this year. They put me opposite Brad talking about what's new with BoxLang, and I'm like, I want to attend that one. That's not fair.
Yeah. It's a good problem to have that all the
It
sessions are
is.
good and you can never decide. So usually I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just stay in this room. Even when I'm out to video, I'll just stay in this room, and that way I know all the videos I got to watch it from the other room tomorrow. So download them, watch them.
I like it.
Anyway,
All right,
cool.
let's jump into some conferences coming up. We have Adobe Cold Fusion Summit East. This
Ooh,
is Wednesday, March 26th from 8 to 4. This is a free event that you can join. It is in Reston, Virginia, at the Carousel Conference and Collaboration Center. So you can, we'll include a link in the show notes where you can get more information and register. Again, this is free. I didn't see any notice of speakers or sessions yet, but go ahead and get that on your calendar if you're in the area.
very cool. So we've been talking about it a little bit. ITB 2025, as we mentioned, April 30th is the workshop day, May 1st and 2nd is the conference day. Some really good early bird tickets available. So only $350 for the conference or $450 for the conference and the workshop. So there's some pretty good prices. And of course, we did mention all the workshops and sessions that have been announced. But did you know, Eric? I didn't know before today that if you are an attendee at ITB, you get a 1 year license for BoxLang Plus.
Ooh, I did not know that. That
Yeah,
that's
hot off
worth
the
it. Just
press.
that's worth it just right there.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously we have some visionary licenses if you want to like support what we're doing with BoxLang, and it's like a 10-year support thing. But this 1 year BoxLang license will give you that BoxLang Plus because BoxLang is open source, but we put some really crazy cool stuff in the Plus package. And so that gives you some extra stuff that you'd normally have to like buy all the different individual extensions or products. So the BoxLang Plus, and again, everyone that attends gets one free. That's pretty cool. I'm excited for that. So
And if you want to know the differences between all those box line plans, we'll have that in the show notes as well. But again, when I say that it is worth the price right there, I'm not joking around. So
yeah, I mean, just one extension for a lot of these tools costs the same price as your tickets. So basically, you're getting a conference ticket for free. That's an even better way to think about it.
there you go.
Yeah.
We are very excited to have you there for the launch of BoxLang. Please sign up, and we can't wait to see you.
Yep. And I keep teasing that we've got a karaoke DJ who's going to be attending, one of the cool people that comes to our conference almost every year. He's a super fan of Otis and we love him. And he's like, yeah, I DJ, at karaoke bars like 3 days a week. I got all my gear. My brother can drop us off with the van. We'll unload it all and we'll happy box it up. So we're gonna have a karaoke stuff on top of mariachi band, on top of all the boxing party stuff. So it's gonna be huge. I can't miss this one. So yeah,
Nice.
you shouldn't either.
You can go get your tickets at intothebox.org. Right after
Perfect.
Into the Box, same month actually, CF Camp 2025. It's May 22nd and 23rd. It's at a new location, but still around the Munich airport. Their call for speakers is still open. It's open till the end of February. You can check that out. We'll have the link in the show notes at papercall.io/CFCamp 2025. Always put
Yep.
on a great conference as well. I know we have many or two CNs that have put in their topics that they want to go talk about there, including
Yeah,
mini BoxLang sessions.
I'm sure. I mean, we're actually going to be there. Luis is going to be part of the keynote. We have a workshop planned for for CF Camp as well. So Otis will be there, Boxlang will be there, and we'll obviously hopefully have a few other sessions there as well from the all two scenes. But yeah, it's always a great conference, and one day I will make it there. One day.
All right. If you need more conferences, we always love to point out conf.tech. You can go there and check out any conferences filtering for um, language, time of year, location, and but we hope to see it. One of the ones we have. Only Into the Box is currently listed here. CF Camp, you gotta get on that. So
I know actually we when Kai was on, he was like, "Oh, I got to get onto that. You got to do that." And guess he hasn't got the pull request approved yet. Maybe I don't know.
yeah.
So, but yeah, we better do that for everything else as well.
Well, let's jump in some blogs, posts, and videos of the week. Somehow it just occurred to me it says post there, and then my little graphic says tweets.
Yeah, I haven't updated the graphic, but
Oh,
because
it's
yeah,
okay.
tweets is null and
It's
void now, I guess.
just
So
makes me sad. I miss old Twitter. There, I said it.
yeah, I know me too. The feed they get now, I like. I can't even have that around my kids. I'll leave it at that.
Ugh.
It's not good.
Oh man. Well, let's
And
get into the happy news, which is the actual blog and posts. First one I wanted to point out, we have one from Robert Zender. This is his interaction with the Shopify GraphQL with some examples. It was one that he needed to do for his job, but also answering kind of a question in the CFML beginners channel on the CFML Slack.
cool,
So if you have need to work with GraphQL, he goes through a couple of pitfalls he has and how he worked around that. So we'll include that here in the show notes.
very cool. The next one is from Charlie Earhart about the Cold Fusion 2025 release. So we touched on that earlier, so we'll kind of hover over it, but it is a great blog post. Do check that out as well.
The next one, the next couple are related, and it's what we talked about earlier with the end of life. What are your options? Saving on 2023. I also wanted to take a moment, maybe to pivot us into a different spot, but to talk about the fact that Adobe's announced they are going subscription only pricing because I find it interesting. Lots of feelings on both sides, and I think my feeling about it, besides not usually running Adobe servers, is if you are trying to stay up with the updates, keep your server secure, you're basically on a subscription already.
Yeah. And
Um,
that's a big reason they're doing that too, to help encourage people to stay on it.
right. I can see the arguments for why no, it's still better if I don't have a subscription, because what happens if you want to stay on a version and not update anymore? You've decided you're fine with it. It's internal. No one's ever going to get to it from the outside. I don't know, whatever your reasoning may be. But I would say for the majority use case, 80, 90% of people, you're already kind of on a subscription or should be because your apps are woefully out of support. So I
Yep.
don't think it's as big a deal, but I can also relate to the people feeling subscription fatigue because that is real.
Yep. There's a lot of those out there for sure. And you know, the other thing too is I think they're trying to do it more fluid too because of things like containerization and Docker and all those different things that people are doing. And it's a lot more ebb and flow. So before you'd have to figure out, oh, can I buy an enterprise license? Do I need to buy another one for that? And so I think this is more flexible. Like with your subscription, it's not quite as bad to go up and down licenses as needed. But I don't know the details. They're still, getting some of that out. But that's sort of what it was hinted at CF Summit too. Like it makes it more flexible for the businesses that need it to be more flexible too. So always pros and cons of everything. Just hopefully it works for you guys.
All right.
Okay. Sorry.
We've talked about the blog post. Well, we've talked about the content at least, but there's a few blog posts going over into the box updates with the agenda updates, the first round of sessions and workshops. You can check out those blog posts or the intothebox.org directly.
Okay. Ben Nadell has a couple of blog posts out here as well. So his first one or most recent one was getting flattened component metadata in Cold Fusion. And he's talking about over the years he's learned to favor composition over inheritance in Cold Fusion apps. To use inversion of control or injection, dependency injection stuff. He said except for when he used it or tried to use it as part of his data modeling. And it turns out that Cold Fusion's get metadata built-in function returns data in a hierarchical structure that doesn't play nice with simplified injector mechanics. And so he talks about how to get a flattened version of it. So if that is something you guys are interested in, check it out.
I want to point out that if you have a need for this, so the idea is, you know, you have a component uh, A, which extends B, which extends C, and you want to get a flat list of all functions available in A, right? All the inherited functions. If you do have a need for that and you are using ColdBox/WireBox, it includes a get inherited metadata function because that is a huge thing that we help you with. If in WireBox, if you're trying to make a component and it extends something that has an inject Wirebox hint, we'll inject that, right? We need to be able to look that. So you don't necessarily, if you do have a need, you don't need to necessarily reinvent that wheel. You can jump into ColdBox's util class and use the get inherited metadata.
And it's pretty well tested, that's for
It is
sure.
very well tested.
Because
Yes.
we use it all the time. Everyone using Callbox uses that a lot. So,
Yeah.
yep, better than write your own.
All right. We're going to skip over the Java updates blog post. We've talked about that already. And move into another Ben blog post about overloading the extended info on the Cold Fusion error object as a data URL. So it looks like this
Yeah,
is, go ahead.
I was gonna say like this one was really interesting. I was in a bit of a rush because we had a client issue before the podcast, so didn't get a chance to read this one. But yeah, I was.
It looks similar to a kind of a trick I've used extended info with CB validation. The idea here is we don't have a great way in CFML to attach data to an exception or an error object, right? In Java,
Mm,
in other statically typed languages, well, even dynamic, you can have a specific error object that extends the error and say, when I have, for instance, you could say when I have a validation exception, I want to construct it with the field that failed, the rejected value, um, things like that, a message. And so that has to be part of the exception, and you can access that in other places. We don't really have that with the Cold Fusion one. It's just one throw, right? And
hmm.
so what Ben is doing here is using extended info as a place to throw a bunch of data. It has to be a string, but
Yeah.
JSON is a string. You
Yep.
can use JSON. Here he's using, when he says data URLs, it's what you might have seen in like base 64 images, data colon something, right? Data colon image, data colon something like that. So he's putting that string inside his URL. In this one, data cause, and then JSON plus the JSON blob. And then extracting that later to get specific information about it. Um, I mentioned
Cool.
CB validation uses this, or well, CB validation throws exceptions with a JSON payload, and if you use any of the Ortus RESTful templates, it actually catches all validation exceptions, grabs that object, and then gives you something more useful back by being able to return an error with like this field failed for this value, and then you can use that in your front end to highlight the actual fields instead of just a bunch of messages. So A very good pattern here. It's kind of all we have right now. One of the reasons I'm very excited for BoxLang is this is not the only way it can happen in BoxLang. So I'm excited to build on that later. But there you go. Extended info, throw data in there, like serialized data that you can grab later.
Very cool. Yeah. So thanks for the translation on that one. Okay, we had the next one up, another big one, using partial component paths as argument types in Cold Fusion. Huh. Argument types and the return type can reference Cold Fusion component paths. Yeah, it's okay. That one I've actually used before. So a lot of times if you have your CFCs are named the same thing where everything is like service.cfc in a different folder. Obviously they have the same name. It's for your type, argument type, but you can actually use the partial component path instead, which means it could be like company, like models.company.service instead of just like service. Because obviously it's a company service, but the name of it is in the path. But that's why I put names more meaningful names in the file because I hate just seeing a bunch of CFCs like service.cfc open 500 times in my VS Code thing. So, but yeah, so I
Yeah,
didn't realize you could use paths though, and you could use that in other ways, but as an argument type, it's pretty cool.
yeah, it's one of
So,
those. I don't know if I'd call it strictly a benefit or a drawback. It's kind of a mixed bag for dynamic languages, right? Um, I can't. If I'm building QB and I want to say you must be an instance of my base grammar, I can't do that. If you write your own class called base grammar, it will gladly take it and then break somewhere else. But that's
yes.
opposed to Java, where you have to import that full class. You can't have any names that could conflict. And so, both
Hmm.
the dynamic nature comes out for better and for worse.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yep, I definitely overloaded a few things before, like context decorators and stuff like that. Like that's part of the fun. So,
I
you
have
know.
also found actually that in a lot of the modules I've made, I have to use just the name, the pathless component name, because I don't know where that's going to be installed. Right?
Hmm.
Sometimes, especially even just in a full cold box app, it might be a root module. It might be installed as in the module
Yeah.
folder of another one. If you don't have your
Yeah.
mappings set up, that might come out weird. Like it's so
Yeah.
usually I don't put the pass on. That's just a little too specific. And so um yeah, again, dynamic nature for better and for worse.
Yeah. Totally.
Our
Okay. I
last blog
mean,
post talks about the testbox 6.1 release, which we've talked about. And with that, I think it's time to move into our BoxLang corner.
yep, exactly. So we've released a couple more betas. You want to tell us about those?
Yeah. So the blog posts are the best places to go see that, or on our boxlane.ordisbooks.com. You can get a release history of every single beta. The reason I say that is I can't read through everything we fix in all of them. There's just so many great things. Even, I mean, bug fixes alone would be both boring to read out because they don't sound exciting, but also there's so many of them. So I picked a few highlights from each beta. We have beta 25 and 26. In 25, our create object now supports dynamic class loading arguments. This is similar to Lucy, where as a third argument to create object, you can pass an array of paths that include jars. And that means you can uh, create these objects dynamically on the fly without having to put them straight in the specific lib folder or load them in the Java settings for the application. Really great for dynamically creating these great for modules. Excited to see that. I hope Adobe gets that in sometime soon so that I can start using it in modules because it will take a lot of boilerplate out of installing some modules that have Java dependencies. Other
Yep.
highlights is BoxLink now uses our ASM box filer. That's our fun word for a compiler.
I love it.
ASM gave us a great speed boost over using Java. So instead of writing out Java code, compiling it to bytecode, we now generate bytecode directly. So Great work, and especially shout out to Jacob Beers. He did so much work getting this going and figuring it out, and you will definitely notice the speed improvement there.
Awesome.
And one for compatibility, if you are using any of ColdFusion's UI tags, CF input, CF form, there is a Box UI forms module out there that you can install now and help you start to convert your app to BoxLang without having to first rewrite all those tags. So that was beta
Awesome.
25. 26 highlights, query of queries, which I think we have something down a little bit lower about that, about how great the query of
Yep.
query support is in BoxLang. It
Brad
includes,
did blog it. Yeah.
yeah, it includes a way to register custom query of query functions. So think in SQL that you have like concat, or you have coalesce. If you're a Oracle fan, I remember it's NVL is the
Wait, there's people
coalesce.
that actually like Oracle?
I guess I said fan. If you're forced to use Oracle, uh, it's MVL. If you try to use that in query queries on Lucy or Adobe, it probably won't work because it's a very specific thing. Well, you can add your own function and then give it the code to say this when you encounter this word, this is what to do with that function. It's like, and that's how
Oh,
we're implementing query of query. So if we didn't put in your favorite aggregate or other function, you can add it in here. List JDBC bindings. So when you pass in a list of values and uh, as a param, that now correctly works with CF query. And
yay.
our dump templates just get better and better. More improvements, more metadata, length, full class names, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, everyone loves the Cold Fusion dump, versus what you get in other languages. But I mean, yeah, all the little cool stuff they're adding, all the little bits and pieces, is so dang cool. So that's just a good reason to use BoxLang right there because the dumps are way better, and you have to see them to see why.
And
Anyway,
then we can help you learn how to use the remote debugger and then you have an even better experience than dump templates. It's our next step. We get you
yeah,
hooked on dump templates and then we show you the better way.
yeah. I mean, just the interaction, open the file, just the debugger, it's all just so slick. I mean, I know Jacob did a lot of work on all of that, but just everyone who worked on it just did such a great job. It's almost like we're a real IDE language now. Almost. Just kidding, we are.
We have one more module to talk about released here. The box lane FTP module has landed. So you can install that. It's let's see, BX FTP. Yep, there's the name. This is exactly what you'd expect. The FTP module that you've seen in Cold Fusion, boxified.
Cool, cool. And then we did have a year in review. So basically, BoxLang 2024 recap from when we announced it, or maybe even a little bit before we announced it, all the way through to the end of 2024. What have we done? Where are we at? So if you're wanting to sort of play catch up and see what's gone on and sort of see the whole story, BoxLang 2024 recap is great. And then, of course, for those release candidates coming out very soon, as Eric said, they're working so hard getting it out, and then they're going to have a big old launch party at ITB. So do not miss it. But keep an eye out for those release candidates. And thanks to everybody who's been working hard, testing it all the way. Pre-release, but and even like secret, top secret, private betas and stuff. Everyone's been such a big help, and we really appreciate it.
We have a
And
special
now
call
tell
out.
us about the speed.
Yeah, we have a
Oh, sorry.
special call out here for BoxLing's query support. Brad put together what Brad put together the whole query support in BoxLang. He did a great improvement to Lucy's a while ago where he learned a lot and is building on that knowledge. And the title of his blog post is BoxLang's Query of Queries is here, and it's 5 times faster than Lucy and 17 times faster than Adobe. So I can probably stop talking right now, and that tells you all you need to know. But if you want to
Probably.
see how he did it, he goes into some of the reasons that it's faster, and he gives examples and charts showing the differences for things like a basic select, non-grouping aggregate, a grouped aggregate. Uh, Joins was a place where BoxLang does so great because it actually supports like inner joins rather than just cross joins. So you can take a
Mm,
look and see. Um, I think the most fun one, which I don't even see numbers on, it was he shows grouped aggregate across different data sizes, and just there's hockey sticks for the other the other two engines, whereas BoxLang is much more linear. So if query queries is a big part of your app, you will get a huge performance increase coming over to the BoxLang. Great work, Brad,
nice.
and great for BoxLang.
For sure. Okay. Wow. Again, we have that little box thing, FTP. I'll move that up because I think I repeated it there. So sorry about that. But yeah, that wraps up our Boxland corner and our blogs, tweets, posts, whatever you want to call them. So great, a lot of content there. Again, tons to go through. Links are in the show notes and in the chat for those in there. And Daniel is in the chats as well, saying ITB, and then it's what's that? Is it a happy fish, dolphin, and then stars in his eyes? Well, we can't wait to have you there too, Daniel. So looking forward to it. But next up, we got CFML jobs, right?
We do. I have to say, reading emoji on an audio podcast has to be so entertaining.
Especially when like, I'm like, what is that? I don't even know what half of these things are supposed to be. So I'm not really up to the whole emoji speak, you know. So,
When I
but
copy
we
that
try.
out, it comes out as face blue smiling. So there
Oh,
you go.
so it looks like a blue dolphin smiling. I guess that's Blueface. Anyway,
Saying it
yeah,
out loud. Sorry, I'm derailing this, but saying that out loud reminds me of one of our favorite shows, Gavin, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where Gina
yep,
starts talking in emojis and she just describes them. Like
yeah.
I'm smiley cat face, and it's like okay.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I swear, whenever me and like Eric go on a retreat or on site or whatever, yeah, I'm like he busted it out in Vegas one time and we watched all the. It was because it's Halloween, right? We're in Halloween in Vegas, and so you're like, oh, you got to watch these Halloween videos for Bucks, like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So we watched all them, and then we are like, oh, let's just watch the rest of the seasons too. So every time we go somewhere, Eric busts out the Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and now everyone's saying noise, and it's hilarious. But it's funny because even Syntax FM is doing that now. Like they're picking up on it, and yeah, it's fun. So anyway,
all
but
right.
like we said, back to CFML jobs.
Sorry
If
for
you're
derailing
looking,
this.
that's all good. We got two new jobs listed. So the first one's a full-time senior Cold Fusion developer in Ashburn, Virginia, and that one is was posted January 14th. And then on the 8th, we also had a full-time position, Cold Fusion engineer in Maryland, Hyattsville. So a couple positions there. The links I'm sharing right now in the chat. And of course, if you are looking for a job, CFML Slack and the Audis Box Team Slack both have job channels. If you have a job that you'd like to list, please let us know. We can put it on in the show notes for everybody. And get cfmljobs.com. That's run by a community member. You can go and add your job listing for free. If you post it to some of the places, it does some I forgot the name for it, basically scraping, we'll say nicely, to get all those listings in here. But it's a great site. Really recommend using it. But yeah, let us know if you got a job listing. We'll try and get some words out too. We want to support the CFML community, and getting them working is definitely part of that. So very cool.
All right. Well, let's wrap things up here with our ForgeBox module of the week and our VS Code hint, tip, and trick of the week. Our ForgeBox module of the week this time is that BoxLang FTP module. If you've been waiting for that to try your BoxLang app out, or your app out in BoxLang rather, go ahead and install it, bx-ftp.
Yep. So short and sweet, but we do have the ForgeBox piece up there. And yeah, again, let us know. We're working on the betas. We're getting into those release candidates. So if there is something that your app does that it can't do, let us know. We want to try to get all that taken care of. So great to see all these modules just flying out the doors here. So BoxLang FTP, go try it.
As for our VS Code hint, tip, and trick of the week, this week we have package JSON upgrade. So this is a module that right in your package.json will show a little tooltip next to each package telling you if there is a patch upgrade, minor upgrade, major upgrade, and even gives you a uh, little, what is it called, light bulb that you can click and say, hey, do this upgrade for me. A great way to
Yeah.
keep on track of it. It's like running the npm outdated command in your command line, but it's right next to it so you can compare versions very easily. And I'll be honest, when I saw this, my first thought was, oh, I want this for ForgeBox. And I even
Well,
went and tried to
I was
look
going to
at
say, Jacob, if you haven't seen it, you're about to. But
what.
I mean, obviously, we have the command, just like the outdated. You can do an update. You know,
Uh huh.
and that command will work. You can see it. But yeah, we should totally turn this into a little extension. Part of the VS Code extension would be great. So
Yeah,
awesome.
I even for a second thought I could do this. This is a small enough extension. It'd be interesting to learn VS Code extension, and this is open source. I can go look at the code. And I went and looked at the code and realized I haven't done enough JavaScript uh, development in a while. It's full of TypeScript. It's full of like 30 files. I don't know. I didn't think it would be that big, so maybe not. We'll
Yep,
see.
I'm already sending it to Jacob right now. I'm like, we need to add this to the VS Code extension, and I'm sending it to him. So don't worry, Eric. I got you covered. Jacob will take care of it.
All
We've
right.
fallen told him you got to get this done.
Thank you
So,
in advance, Jacob.
yep,
So,
for sure. But
so
it's
package
super
JSON
cool.
upgrade today. ForgeBox JSON upgrade, some coming soon.
Yep, we'll put them to work and say you can't come out until you finished it. No Super Bowl for you. Kansas City fans can stay in their box until you get that done. So, anyways, but yep. So great little package. Again, I know a lot of us do JSON. I mean, sorry, some a lot of us is doing JavaScript one way or the other. So it's nice to have something like that. And plus, it really shows you how scary old some of your stuff is because it doesn't take long to be way behind on this stuff.
Oh
So,
gosh, it is.
so I
Yeah.
mean, like the dependent bot, man. The dependent bot on GitHub is awesome, except for it emails you like all the time, and so you kind of like get that there are too many, just too much noise, and you just kind of ignore it. But there's just so much. So anyway,
Yeah, I'm right with you. I've pulled up. I'm a big fan of Inertia JS. I pulled up an app because they had
hmm
a new version, and I'm like, okay. I'm going in expecting to just upgrade Inertia and a couple other dependencies. I think everything had at least a patch release, and half of them had major release updates. And I was like, I wasn't ready for this. I'll come back later. So, all right,
yeah,
let's bring it home and tell you a bit about our Patreon supporters. We love our resplendent Patreon supporters.
resplendent.
These are individuals and companies that are personally supporting our initiatives here at Order Solutions, including Commandbox, Coldbox, ForgeBox, and of course BoxLang and this podcast. Their contributions fund things like package management that you're currently enjoying using ForgeBox for the community, as well as hearing us deliver you the news every few weeks. You can support
Yep,
us at patreon.com/order solutions, and supporting us comes with a few perks.
yep. And if I'll undo what you just deleted, we'll find out.
Sorry.
So yeah, so basically everyone who's a patron supporter will get their own profile badge on the community website, and all of patron supporters will have access to a private forum on that community website and a private Slack channel on the Box Team Slack. So those are some three little perks, no matter what level you are. But if you're a bronze level and up, you can get, or you now get included in your price is ForgeBox Pro account and a CFcast paid subscription as well. So those are worth, $50, $60 or whatever, just right there. So definitely recommend that. And again, if you guys are going to support us for a year, pay for the year and you save 10%, which is great for everybody. But yeah, it's definitely a way to go. And again, this goes directly into the open source stuff. We're obviously doing a lot for the community because we want it to thrive, and we're doing a lot with BoxLang as well as Cold Fusion. So it really is a big deal, and we really appreciate each and every one of you that do that. And so, unfortunately, this too many names for us to read them all because we don't want to be going until like next week. So we're going to read the top patrons every week now because 62, I don't have the breath for that. So, but we do have like our top Patreons. So some of the top packages that we have, and we'll mispronounce their names in their honor. So
Yes.
we'll first say thank you to John Wilson from Synaptrix, Tomorrow's Guides, and Jordan Clark. And also Gary Knight, Giancarlo Gomez, David Bellinger, who's in the chat. Hey, hey. Dan Card, James Moberg, and Jeffrey McGee from Sunstar Media. Dean Maunder, Kevin Wright, Doug Kane, Nolan Irk, and Abdul Rahim. So, 62. Got to change the bottom number. Up to 62 patrons right now. And again, go to patreon.com/ordersolutions for all of our packages and the full list of every Order Solution Patreon sponsor will be up on the Order Solutions website. And if you don't see your name after you've subscribed, or if you haven't got the badge yet, let us know. Like I said, it's hard to keep up with all the Patreon stuff flying in. So if you are a member, let us know. Make sure you get all those perks that you're supposed to get. So we're grateful to have each and every one of you. Right, Eric?
We are, and we're grateful for you joining us here live, joining us later on YouTube or in a podcast client of your choice. Thanks so
And
much.
hopefully joining us at ITB or CF Summit or Cold Fusion CF Summit East, or if you're going to be in a JFocus next week, Java conference in Europe, we'll be there too. So we're everywhere. So you should join us. But otherwise, we can see us in a couple weeks, right, Eric?
That's right. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks. Thanks.
Have a good one, everybody. Bye. Show notes for this episode can be found at cfmlnews.modernizeordie.io, where you can also subscribe to your favorite podcast player like Spotify or iTunes. We also have the link to YouTube to find more videos just like this. The music used in this podcast is under a royalty-free license from Sound.com and Blue Tree Audio.